Hey guys, so I've had a few people ask me to give them a little bit of a tutorial on how we capture the ISS transits on the sun, and this works for lunar transits as well. So what you want to do to start with is you want to go to your browser and you want to go to ISSTransitFinder.com. It's actually just transitfinder.com. And what I'll do is I'm going to provide a link to all of these websites in the description below the video here, so you don't need to worry about copying this down or anything like that right now. So transitfinder.com, it's going to open up this page. It also does predictions for the Hubble Space Telescope and also the Chinese space station that they have up there. So first thing you want to do is you want to select your location, either select it on a map or do auto detect if your computer has GPS and knows exactly where you are. So we're going to go to select on map. I live in Henderson, Nevada, which is a suburb of Las Vegas. So we're going to just pick the Las Vegas airport as our center point and hit save and close there. Then you want to pick the time frame. So I'm going to just go from, let's say, the 12th to the 23rd. How about that? One note I will say about the time span is the further out the date you choose, the less accurate the results are going to be. And I'll get into that a little bit more. So the space station is constantly being boosted in altitude to maintain orbit. And so anytime they do a boost, the calculations obviously are going to completely change. Next setting here, number 3, is you want to set your preferred travel distance. I usually leave the default 150 kilometers. I'm not exactly sure how many miles that is. I'm a dumb American. And then the next step is hit calculate. So calculate, it's going to give you the information here. So it's showing 4 solar transits and 6 lunar transits within that time frame that we chose on the calendar. So one way to read this first is by looking at the little icon pictures here on the side here. So the smaller the sun disk or moon disk it shows tells me right away that I'm going to have to travel a pretty long distance, probably closer to that 150 mile or 150 kilometer radius. You see this one here, the disk of the sun is much larger, so that tells me that this event is going to be happening much closer to home. So the next most important thing that you want to look at is the angular size of the object. So both of these that are shown here on screen are the Chinese space station, and it's not a very large structure, and so it's usually very, very small. Just to give you an idea, the transit that I photographed the other day was 53 arc seconds in diameter, so this is 5. You can tell it's much, much smaller. So if it's a small object like this and it's passing right over my house and it's not any trouble for me to set up in the backyard, then I'll go ahead and try to capture it. But if it's something that I've got to pack up all of my gear in the car and travel a long distance for, it's got to be fairly large for me to try to go to the effort. My rule of thumb is it's got to be at least 50 arc seconds in diameter to make it worth my while. So you see this one's getting a little closer. This is the space station, the International Space Station at 36, but it's still not big enough. This one I wouldn't even consider. The Hubble is a very, very tiny object compared to the space stations. Let's scroll down here and see if we can find a large one. Okay, so here we go. So this is something that's kind of odd. If you notice the date and time of this event, it's obviously very close to a new moon because the time difference is only 2 seconds here. So we're not going to try to do the lunar transit here because that would be way too dangerous to try to look at the moon while it's that close to the sun. But we'll look at the International Space Station here, the solar transit here. So 63 arc seconds. This one is really, really good. And I'm telling you, if this position holds out and the weather holds out, I'm going to probably try it. This will probably be my next one that I go for on Wednesday the 19th. So you can hit more information and it shows you a little bit more information on the map. And then if you click show on map, it shows you the actual location where it's going to happen. And you can see here's the center of Las Vegas. So I've got to drive almost all the way up to the little town of Mesquite in order to see this one. Now the one thing about the map that the website provides here is it's not a very detailed map. So when we zoom in here, we have to try to find this location on Google Maps to find a better spot. So what I'm going to look for is the town of Moapa Valley and Mesquite on Google Maps, and I'm going to just take it up 15 here, and we should be getting close to it here. So here is Mesquite, and Moapa Valley is down here. So this is roughly the area that we're going to be looking at. So we go back to our map here. Now I zoom in a little closer and look at the curvature of the interstate here. So kind of find this same design on the interstate on the map, and we can see it's right here. So here is the area that we need to start zooming in on. So now I get a little bit closer and I can see a road that's going to the north here, which is just to the east of our center line of our transit here. So that's the road that I want to find now. So if I start zooming in on this area here and look for the road, oh, here's the road right here. So now I know I need to come in this way. So here's that road, and then I see an interchange on the highway here, or at least an exit here. So our pass is going to happen somewhere in this area right here. Again, go back to our map and see if I can find, there is that exit off of the highway right here. And so it looks like from the point where the road makes a slight curve to that turnoff, it's sort of about the halfway point. So what I do is, here is that slight curve, and here's that road going to the north. So I'm guessing right around here is going to be where the transit happens. You want to get as close to the center line of the transit as possible. So what I would do is drive up, take this exit here, travel under the interstate, and get on this little side road here called Carp Elgin Road. Come back up here past the little turn, and I would probably try to find a spot on the side of the road right here to set up. So there's my location. So now I know where I have to be, and going back to the map, I know when I have to be. It's going to happen at 1:48:27 in the afternoon. So the next thing you have to do is just be prepared. Make sure you have all your equipment. If you're imaging this, if you're imaging it with a regular white light filter, what I recommend you do is go to spaceweather.com and click on this image here, and you want to do this the morning of or the day of the event. So this is going to show you what the sun disk looks like with the proper north, south, east, west orientation. So you've got a small sunspot group rotating off the edge of the limb here, and you've got a much larger group. So what you want to do is, when you get your camera set up, is you want to orientate your camera so that the sunspots are in the same orientation, which is really going to be easy to do here. You just got to get these two pairs of sunspots sort of level on your camera. If you're using a hydrogen alpha telescope, there's another website you can go to here. Again, I'm going to link to this at the bottom. So this shows 7 hydrogen alpha telescopes stationed around the world. And you want to find one that's fairly close to your area, that has a recent picture. So this one here at Big Bear, so this picture was taken 4.5 minutes ago. So if you click on this, it's going to open up a larger image. And I would print out this screen here, and when I'm doing my my camera alignment in the in SharpCap, is I would make sure that I have like this filament here that's sort of over at the 3:30, 4 o'clock position. Look for this prominence along the edge and put that up at the 10 o'clock position, and then I know that I've got my telescope oriented properly. And when the transit happens, it's going to pass right across the disk, sort of in this orientation, because they showed this as north is being up, south is down. So there you go. You're ready to go. You just want to make sure that you're in the right location on the planet. You're there at the right time, and that's it. Roll records and make sure you have fun doing it.